What's up guys, welcome to my guide on how to fight multiple opponents. Today we're going to go over positioning and combat strategies. I'm going to cover offense, defense, and we'll give some loadout tips at the end of the video. Timestamps will be in the description if you're looking for something specific. Enjoy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you in regards to the positioning is how you do not want to be positioned. The worst thing that can happen in a 1v2, 1v3 situation is that you get surrounded. As soon as that happens, you're done. They're gonna start stabbing you in the back, in the front, whatever. You're gonna die. They're rushing me down. I can block a little bit. I'm blocking. Oh, I get in the middle. I'm starting to get stabbed in the back. I die. Okay, that you don't want that. You're gonna lose all of these fights for sure. So that's pretty straightforward. If you're in the middle, in between, if you're right here, you're gonna get stabbed from both sides. You can't block backwards. You're dead. Now, your main goal will be to create an isolation with one of these two guys. So how you do that is instead of walking backwards or forward or staying in the middle, let's say I have legs right now. What I want to be doing is going to the left like this, or if I'm right here, go to the right behind one of them. You want to circle around your enemies. So what happens is you're creating this pocket of 1v1 situation against this guy. And what happens is my boy here is no longer in range to hurt me. So if he wants to attack me, he's gonna either have to run a couple seconds to catch up, because I'm still going backwards on this direction. I'm going backwards, so he's gonna have to catch up on me. If he wants to swing and I'm behind his friend, he's gonna hit him. That's good for me. Okay, so let's take a look at this clip right here. I have one guy on my right, one guy on my left. I'm stuck in the middle, so I get hit. I have 23 HP left. I'm almost dead. I'm still in the same position right here. There's one on my right and one on my left. If I stay here, I die. First thing I do, I start circling around the guy on my left, and if I pause it here, you'll see that I lined up my two enemies and I created distance from this guy in the back. If you see right here, he's winding up an attack, which means if I stayed right there in the middle, I would be done. They would both hit me at the same time and I would die. So what I'm able to do is create this little pocket, this 1v1 engagement against this guy, and I'm able to back off, create some distance, and this is what happens next. Get a hit on this guy, switch on him, his buddy comes in, get the hit, block, switch, kill him, and drag. They're all dead. I'm just saying, if you keep watching this video, I'll explain everything I just did right there to win this fight. So keep watching. You also want to keep in mind that you can use the map to your full advantage. If you're fighting 2, 3, 4 guys, staying in the open might not be the best option. So if you have access to a nice choke point like this, having 3 or 4 enemies in there is going to guarantee that they're going to be hitting each other and that they're all coming from the same direction, and that tilts the odds of winning the fights in your favor.
Oh my god, look at the kill feed.
They got like wiped out.
Okay, now this would not be one of my guys if we didn't have my classic advanced graphic. You have your enemy number 1, your enemy number 2, and you're right there. They're not letting you go around. What do? You can't create this lineup that I've been talking about. What you might want to do is, if they're both coming at you that way, you can penetrate in the middle right there and go in between them. And if you swing at the same time, you'll catch them off guard. So here's how it looks. Okay, so just to recap what we've seen so far, your goal number 1 is to create 1v1 situations. Best way to do that is going to the side. If you can't do that, you just go in between. If you can't do that, you might have a choke point nearby. Go towards that. That's your number 1 bet. If you don't have any of these options available, you're either dead or you're doing this and you're just swinging. Okay, that's another viable option. And I'll explain you right now how you do this. Now that I showed you how to move around and position yourself, it's time to show you how to win the actual fights. So the most important part of winning against multiple opponents is to do target switching. That is extremely crucial. So let's say that you have enemy number 1, enemy number 2, enemy number 3. What you want to be doing is looking at someone and attacking someone else. So I'm looking at enemy number 1, I'm moving around, poke number 2. I'm looking at number 2, I go back to number 1, he's dead. Going, looking at number 2, looking at number 2. Go for number 3. You always want to keep switching between who you're attacking because they think they have the advantage. They don't expect you to attack. Especially if you're not looking at them. It looks very weird and it comes out of nowhere and you're going to catch them off guard. I also strongly suggest that you accelerate all of your hits if possible, especially in 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, when you're very limited on time and your attacks need to be going out. You don't have time to drag or do any feints. I'm gonna have to say switch and accelerate your hits, and that is your best chance to win that fight. Now, you might have noticed in these recent clips that I'm not parrying very much. I'm not playing much defense. That's because as soon as I feel like I have a good momentum, I have good timing, and that I feel like my enemies are hesitating, I'm going to take full advantage of that and go full offensive to try to clean him out as fast as possible and keep going. Now, this can be taken all the way to the extreme, and that's what I call the Beyblade Tactic.
No matter what, throwing down fire is key.
Now, at some point, you can't always be swinging. You'll have to start playing some sort of defense. But you have to be careful because as soon as you start parrying 2-3 times in a row, you're losing all your offensive momentum. And that's when you start to get hit, you get spammed down and you just die. So it turns out that the best way to play defense and offense at the same time is with chambers and riposte. So let's say you have your target number 1 right here and you have target number 2. Target number 2 is not even thinking about playing defense because all he sees is you looking at target number 1. So in his eyes, he's got blood, okay? He wants to hit you, he wants to kill you. Player 1 attacks you, you chamber it, and you switch it to player number 2. He's not expecting it because he just wants to kill. Now, there always comes a point where you can't chamber, you can't riposte, you can't attack. The only thing you can do is parry. If you look at the speed of my parry right now, I'm spamming my parry button. It cannot go faster. Well, it turns out that if you just parried an attack, your following parries will be almost instant. You also want to keep in mind that your parries are draggable. So if you click your parry button and you drag your mouse at the same time, as long as the shield is flashing in the middle of your screen, you'll be blocking every single attack that's coming your way. Another point that is extremely important is to anticipate the intentions and actions of your opponent. So I have one enemy in front of me right here, and I have 2 enemies on my right. If I start playing the clip, I'll land a hit. Now what happens is, I take out the guy in front of me, but if you remember, I had 2 enemies on my right. Now, if I just keep walking right here, they're gonna attack me, they're gonna stab me in the back. So I'm already thinking, wait, there's 2 guys behind me, I need to defend myself. So I turn around and swing. Turns out nobody's over there, but if there was, he would no longer have a head. You also want to make sure that since you're already at a disadvantage number-wise because you're 1v2, 1v3, whatever, you want to make sure that your engagement is as solid as possible. In this situation right here, I noticed that I have the second guy coming to help his archer buddy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take use of target switching to surprise him and get a good head start by having my first swing connect. Now, if your goal is to go on an absolute rampage, especially in Frontline, the most important perk that you can have, the most important thing you can do with your points is to have Bloodlust. Bloodlust, what it does is every time you get a kill, it heals you all the way up. And that is so good because even if you're in 1v5, 1v3, whatever, every time you get a kill, the fight resets. So it turns a little bit more in your favor every single time. To give you an example of how strong Bloodlust is, we're going to watch this clip right here. Look, I have 35 HP, which means I'm 1 hit away from death. I'm in a 1v1 right here, I'm in trouble. I get the kill. My HP goes all the way back to full. So the fight resets, I'm brand new, I'm ready to go. Second guy comes in. We start fighting. I get poked. I'm now at 48 HP. I'm so close to death. Maybe 1 or 2 hit away. Keep fighting. I get the kill. I am back up to 100. And then this guy hits me at the same time. I go back to 33. What happens? I managed to kill this guy. And I'm back up to full. That is so good. So strong. And the best part is I'm not even done yet. Okay, I keep going. I keep going. Right there, I get hit by an arrow. Oh my god, I'm taking damage. I'm at 77. What happens? Get the feint. Kill this guy. I'm back up to full. Another thing that you want to keep in mind in regards to the loadout is your weapon choice. It has a huge impact on your ability to fight multiple opponents. The most important thing you want to look at, if you go into the advanced section of your weapon, you will find a point where it says stop on hit. What that means is when you hit an opponent, does your weapon go through and attack the guys behind it, or does it stop at the first guy? So if that box says yes, that means that as soon as you hit someone, the weapon stops, unless you get the kill. If you get the kill, it will keep going until you reach the next target. So let's take the pan as an example. You have stop on hit at yes, but you can still make plays like this. Another thing that you want to take a look at is if your weapon can combo or not. A combo means that if you're spamming left click, your character will just keep swinging until you stop. If you take the alt mode of the halberd as an example, it cannot combo. That means that after one swing, your character can no longer go into another swing. You're gonna have to wait a second or so. That's a really important thing to keep in mind, because the previous tactics that I explained earlier, like the Beyblade or the attacking mindset, is not gonna work with that kind of weapon, because after one swing, you're done. I will say that you will have an easier time killing multiple opponents if you're using one of the bigger weapons instead of using one of the small ones. The reason is you might not have the time to land 3, 4, maybe even 5 hits on one target. I prefer the bigger weapons because you can clear out an opponent in 2 or 3, so your odds of winning are a lot higher. With all that said, my favorite build to run right now in Frontline is to go 3-3-3 armor. That makes me super tanky. And you might notice that I don't have a weapon. I decided to put all my points into Bloodlust, Friendly, and Fireproof, giving me good cover from my teammates from the Firebomb guys, and Bloodlust is just insane. So what I do is, I spawn in, and the first thing I do is look at the ground, I pick up someone's weapon, and I just go fight. Whatever the weapon, I'll just switch it up as I go, if I find something more interesting that I prefer, but that's my loadout. There you go, boys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Consider leaving a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what guide you want to see next. I'll be working on it as soon as possible, so I'll see you guys on the battlefield.